Okay, looks like we got pretty much 5 of you guys in here right now. Some familiar names in here. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. I want to start off by saying thank you, FX Street, for having me here for the premium webinars again here. And my name is Navin Prithiani. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the senior analyst and trader at forexwatchers.com and mentor and coach at urbanforex.com. So we're here today. We're going to do some live analysis. We're going to look at the markets together. If there's anything particular you guys are looking at, we'll look at that as well. We got approximately 45 minutes together here tonight. So we're here today too. Also, another announcement. I'm going to be in Singapore starting tomorrow for the next week. So if any of you guys are in Singapore, you can get in touch with me. We can catch up for a drink or whatnot. So just an idea. All right. So anything you guys traded today? Anything specific you guys took a look at today for trading? We can start off by that. If there is nothing, we'll go into straight live analysis. Okay. Seems like there is no one mentioning any pairs, so we'll go straight into live analysis. So let's take a look at some of the pairs that are showing up. Okay. We'll do a quick scan from the daily charts just to see the flow of money, to see if there's anything setting up for tonight going into next week. So start with the euros. I generally like to do correlation first. Let me go in and take a look at correlation. Let's see what we have at play here. There we go. Currency strength. Okay, I think something is wrong here. Give me a second here. March 17, March 14. Okay, I'll have to take a look at this, see what's going on here. But it seems like the latest numbers that we have here are New Zealand at -6. This is 6 out of 6, okay? So New Zealand is extremely weak. Euro is extremely strong. US dollar is extremely strong, and CAD. So we got 4 pairs we're going to be looking at tonight. We got New Zealand, we got CAD, we got Euro, and we got US dollar. Okay? Now, we're not interested in pairing them all up or anything like that. All we're interested in is where's the big boys' money flow at? Okay? Where's the real wealth of the world focusing their money on? And then we're going to go in there and we're going to investigate. Okay? Sort of like Sherlock Holmes kind of thing. We're going to go out there, we're going to see, is there anything that we can, jump in on? All right, so let's start with, so let me write this stuff down for you guys. We got New Zealand, we got CAD, USD, and Euro. New Zealand, CAD, USD, and Euro. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with Euro. Going to go on to the daily charts. Let me remove everything, clean this all up. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Euro, Yen. Sorry. Yen. Okay, Euro, Pound. All right. Okay, let's start with the top left here. Euro, Pound. Okay, we're looking at the current market is in a upward flow. Okay. All right. Euro, CAD, same thing. Current market, upwards market, buyer's market. Euro, Yen, buyer's market. Okay. Euro Aussie, also buyer's market. Euro New Zealand, buyer's market, overextended. It's out in the open. Okay. Generally, what happens when I say out in the open, we call that hunting area. So what happens is when the market starts to move a little bit, no one actually gets into the trade. But when it currently moves very, very aggressively, then all the greedy people out in the industry, who are trying to make some money, will jump in on the trade and do the buys. This is the out in the open area, which means these are deer out in the open field, and all the hunters are starting to take the aim at the deer. It's like that. So it's the hunting area. So definitely cannot do any buys up in this area as of right now. It's too high up there. Euro pound, same thing. Seems to be very, very aggressively long as well. So overall, euro across the board seems to have some sort of power coming in. Okay, across the board, it's all over the place. So let's take a look at some of these ones that are pulling back, like euro USD. We got slight pullback here. We got what is this one here? Euro Aussie. We got a slight pullback here. Okay, euro yen, same thing. So let's excuse me. Ugh. Ugh. Because I'm allergic to Europe. Okay, sorry about that. Excuse me. So let's go into the 4-hour chart. Let's see how these pullbacks are looking. Okay, how many of you guys been to my webinars before? Any of you guys here who've been to my previous webinars or anything? Chris, yeah? Okay, good. Nick, also? Okay. Have I ever explained the rubber band man theory in any of my webinars that you guys have attended? No, I'm guessing not. So let me go into the 4 hours. What we're looking at, yeah, judging momentum. Oh, are you part of the course, Chris? Are you part of the Mastering Price Action course? You just started. Okay. So it'll make a lot more sense to you. So this should be good practice for you. Okay. Anyways, looking at this on Euro USD. So on the higher time frame, we label this as all of this is in buy zone, right? And what we're looking for is, okay, if we're going to be doing some buy zone on a lower scale, give me some sellers that I can buy from. Okay, so imagine it this way. The price keeps rising and rising and rising. So this is the trend, right? This is the overall trend, you know? So if you want to say everyone is buying an iPhone, for example, let's say that's the current fashion. Everyone's buying an iPhone. So you're like, well, I want to buy an iPhone too. Why not? You know, it's everyone has it. I want one too. Why not? So while it's going up and up and up and up and up, and in this process, price is very high and very, very expensive. Now your job is, I want to go with the trend because the trend is your friend. That's correct. However, I am not stupid to buy it at such a high price right up here, right? None of us want to do that in real life. We don't go to a car dealership and say, oh, how much for this car? 20,000. Oh, perfect. Here's 30,000. No, who does that? No one does that, right? No one offers more than what it's worth. Okay, and no one just goes in and says, okay, here's the retail price. I'm not going to negotiate at all. Okay, so that's, you know, in real life, the way you're looking at it to look for a good deal, we're going to do the same thing here. We need a discount to come in. So when the discount comes in, you get in on it for the buy. Now the discount is critical because a discount needs to make people start selling. Now here's something controversial I'm going to tell you about. Okay, what makes price go down? Right here. What makes price go down dramatically right here? Okay, without going into the Forex technical stuff, you know, supply and demand, support resistance, and Fibonacci number, without all that garbage, what makes price turn around? Okay, why does it turn around and make a move? Okay, so somewhere in the market, right up into this area, few things are happening. The big boy who was buying it initially is profit taking. That's one way to look at it. Okay, which makes him remove some of his orders. The other way is a news gets released, and all those people who react to news events, they start selling their orders. They're like, I own this product, but now that I know this product is horrible, I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it. I want to sell it as quickly as I can to whoever buys it from me. Right? You know, you hear Trump badmouth any company like Northrop Grumman or anything like that. What happens? It takes a spike down, and then that's basically your discount. You know, so it's like, you know, maybe Tesla is going up and up and up and up, and then suddenly something happens in the company, prices drop, everyone's like, oh my God, the company's going to fail. They start panicking. So they start getting rid of their shares because the media said so. And then all the smart traders are like, oh, perfect, we got a discounted price now. Okay? Does that make sense? So your goal is to make sure, is there someone actually selling? Is there someone actually selling? So let me ask you guys this example here. If I open this chart up, okay, is everyone following along so far? Does that make sense? So far, so good? I'm going to get into some examples for this just so you guys can understand a little bit. When you're looking at this right here, what would you say this chart represents currently? An uptrend or a downtrend? Okay, what goes on in your mind? Uptrend, right? This is what everyone will say. It's an uptrend because that's what's visible. But no one is hitting the sells yet, right? And think about that very carefully. At what point do people start hitting the sells? If the market came all the way down to here, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, it's a sell. But who got in here? Nobody. Because at that point, they weren't looking at it as a sell. They were only looking at it as a buy. That is your golden key to trading. You want to find that anomaly where people suddenly turn the opposite direction. Okay? Now here's the interesting part here. Now in this uptrend, we're looking at this as SNR here. We got support equals resistance, right? Everyone see that? That's clear. Support equals resistance, right? In this uptrend, when this red bars start to come down very, very aggressively, does anyone freak out saying, oh my God, my buys are not working, get rid of it, sell, sell, sell everything? Are they freaking out? No, absolutely not. They're still looking at this as the market's uptrend. The market's an uptrend. Here's something interesting to show you. Now, this right here, for example, might be a overall uptrend, for example. Just for the sake of an example. Overall uptrend. But you see this area here where it's like, well, that's support equals resistance there, that's support equals resistance there. What happens during the first pullback right there? No one cares. No one cares. Which means if on that pullback, you're trying to hit that buy, it's not going to work. Why? Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is buying, and if you're buying also, then who's going to sell to you? How are you going to make any money? No one is buying, and no one is selling, sorry. So if you're buying, I'm buying, George is buying, Chris is buying, Tom is buying, Bob is buying, well, who's selling? There's no one selling. Right? So where are you going to make money from? Who are you going to make money from? Right? Common things. We can't just chase the market because it's green, so we buy it. And it's red, we mean we sell it. No, it's not like that. So what we're doing is the moment we see these areas start getting violated causes panic. That panic moment's like, oh my God, what's going on? Now that panic moment makes them think, okay, I'm going to ask you guys one interesting question here. If you guys hit the buy earlier and you're making profit and you're in the buy, how do you close a buy? What must you do? How do you close a buy order? With a sell. So anyone who's a buyer is actually now a seller automatically. So there's a lot of sell orders. What happens if you're in a buy and you hit a stop loss? What type of order is that stop loss? It's also sellers. So at what point does panic kick in? Panic kicks in at the obvious areas where SNR is. You cross the SNR, panic. You cross the SNR, stop loss. Because where's the normal way of putting stop loss? Oh, recent low. That's the normal way of putting stop loss. Recent high. Right? These are the normal areas of stop loss areas because that's how we're trained in the industry, right? So in these areas, panic begins. Now, when the panic begins, you have to not forget your overall flow. Your overall flow is up, for example. Just for the sake of an example. And in this area, you start to notice, all right, people are panicking, which means those who are buying are going to try to sell it because they're in a big loss and they're basically upset about this trade. Those who are looking at this as this could be a sell, this could be a sell, they're jumping in on the sells. Those who were already buying from earlier, they're trying to get rid of it for profits. They're trying to sell it like, oh my God, it's not going up anymore. No SNR is holding, it's a sell. So everyone starts to sell. It's only at that moment when everyone starts to sell, you start being alerted saying, perfect. Now there is an opposite party willing to sell me the product because me and you, we are looking at the big flow and saying, if the big boy's interested in this, so am I. Does that make sense? We don't care what the little guy is doing. You're looking at the big picture saying, if the big boy's interested, so am I. But we need the little boy to turn the opposite way first. We can't just hit a buy from up in this area. It will not work because they're not turned seller yet. They're still looking at that as a buy. So any little red candles or anything like that, they're not selling it. And if they're not selling it, you're not going to make any money from it because there's no one selling to you. Does that make sense? So you want to keep this logic going at all times. You want to keep this logic going at all times. Like, where is the money that I'm going to make coming from? And at what point do I know that someone is going to sell to me? Because I want to buy it. So come on, I need some traders to sell it to me. Okay? So at what point do they get emotional? It's that emotional stage. Okay? All right. So when we're looking at this area, if I say between Euro USD, Euro CAD, Euro Yen, or Euro Aussie, which ones are people the most emotional on? Just those four. Which one are the people the most emotional about? Which one catches your eye saying that, oh my God, imagine if I was a buyer, I would be, shitting my pants basically right now. Excuse my language, but okay, Euro Aussie, Euro USD, yeah. It's the aggressiveness of Euro USD and the aggressiveness of Euro Aussie that makes you think, this is it. It can't go up anymore. It must be a sell. And that's good. That's good. Let them think what it must be because their opinions don't matter. Okay? Only opinion that matters in the market is the big boy's money. That is the only opinion that matters. Any retail trader, any institutional trader's opinion never matters. You need to understand that. Okay? Any words that I think it's going to go up, I think it's going to go down, all of that is false. Okay? Because none of that stuff matters. None of that stuff matters. Okay, so let's take a look at this on Euro Aussie. So that's correct, Chris. Euro Aussie and Euro Aussie. That's causing panic. Like people are like, what? What's going on here? Because even on Euro Yen, if you're looking at this, like, imagine if you bought at your recent SNR right here, or you were aggressive and you got in at a higher SNR right there. So any pullback that's happening right now, are you in panic mode for Euro Yen? Not really. You're not freaking out. You're like, I'm still in profit, but I don't know if I'm, maybe I'll scratch it if it doesn't go anymore. So you're trying to understand that logic. But over here, yeah, there's people, struggling. There's people who bought that range, that little range that you guys see here. There's people who bought that range, the breakout of that range, and when the range turned back around, they're like, what? Oh no. Okay? There are people still buying this with hopes of it's still an uptrend. And then when this happened, they're all like, oh my God, stop losses, everyone's turning seller. But you're looking at this with the big boy as, I'm still looking at this as a buy in the overall flow. And now, not only with the big boy, who's the biggest boy out there? Okay, our big boy might be the daily, right? Who's the absolute biggest boy out there? How do we know who the biggest boy is in the industry? Can we see him on a chart? And we already did it earlier today. It's correlation. A big boy will not show up on one chart, but you will feel his presence across the entire currency group. So what we did earlier to find out euro, someone is die hard for euro. Okay? Now, I'm trying to make it easy by saying some one individual. And of course, it's not one individual. It's every smart individual out there. Everyone who has information that we do not have. Information that banks have. Information that the top billionaires have. Information that we don't have access to. Okay? First-hand information, like dealing with different countries and knowing that, okay, the president said this, and he's going to flip out on this next speech. Knowing that stuff ahead of time gets these larger players to load up on their positions. That is the only thing that moves the market. That is the only thing that moves the market. Okay? So, when we're looking at this from the higher time frame, from the daily, we're looking at this as, well, this thing, according to the daily, this thing is simply SNR. And we're still above the SNR area, right? Chris, you're saying, is that leg 2, leg 3 input? Is that what you're meaning by L2, L3, leg 2 and leg 3, stuff like that? Level 2, level 3 depth of market, basically what you're doing there is you're looking at the order flow. That's different. That's different. See, when you're going to detail stuff like that, you're looking at the big players placing the order, right? Now, when you're placing an order, for example, if I come in right now and I put in $10 billion for a buy, by the time you spot that, by the time you react, by the time you go into the trade, but that's just trying to follow what the big boy is doing without even understanding what is he actually trying to do. Is he fakely buying the product to raise people to jump in and chase it? And then he wants to eventually sell it. You need to understand the entire flow, which means we need to gauge an idea, which we call gauging momentum, is to understand the flow of the big boy to just get an idea of like, okay, these are all transactions that he's done. Imagine if it's one person, right? And what we say generally is candles are nothing but a receipt of what the big boy is doing. They're just, purchase receipts. So we're going to go through his receipts and be like, okay, he's shopping there, he's shopping over there, he's shopping over there. You start to understand and you start to understand why he's shopping less now. And he's shopping even more or less. You start to understand his flow, his behavior. Okay, it's not just a drawing like Picasso, let me just draw a line here and then that's the answer. No, come on, man. We all got to be better than that, right? We can't just do that. Yeah, exactly. Which prices he's interested in, all that stuff. You're like, why is he not? He was a buyer this whole time. He's a buyer this whole time. Why is he not interested in buying it yet? Why is he waiting for the prices to come below? Is he not having hopes for this price to go higher anymore? Okay, why is the pullback coming in so deep? Earlier, the pullback came in only 30% and he gobbled it up. He doesn't care about how much discount there was. He just wants it so badly. Now he cares about how much discount there is. Okay, maybe he's not interested anymore. Maybe he has less capital. All these things we have to start to pick up on. Okay, SW say, so can you mark one for future to show how your rules work? Well, I don't really teach my rules. We're here to do live analysis. We're not here to do some education today. Okay, sorry about that. Generally, I get carried away when I try to explain situations because you'll actually see a lot of the industry is just all caught up on technical analysis. Like, let's draw this, let's draw that. Let's put an indicator here, indicator there. And I'm trying to help you understand that you want to Yeah, we'll do live charts right now. So we want to do live charts, even to do analysis correctly, we need to understand, is there sellers if we want to be buyers? Okay? So in our particular case, we got Euro USD, we got Euro Aussie, and the rest are not so interesting. Okay? Even though Euro is powerful across the board. Okay? So we got the biggest boy, and we got our big boy saying the buy is still on. Okay? Temporarily, we got everybody selling it, which is good. Okay, so they're in panic mode, which is good. Now we're looking for some sort of sign that shows us the big boy is back. Now, what's a sign that shows us the big boy is back? If there's a discount coming in, how do you know that the big boy has bought it and he's interested in that price? What's a sign that's going to show you? How do you think that's going to look like on his receipts? Okay, it has to do with time. How much time gets spent in a certain price? Okay, so take a look at this. How much time was spent on this price here? Not very long, and no big boys presence. Prices went further, means further discount. Time spent here, not very long. Some buying action, that little green bar there. Prices went lower. Got down to this lowest price here, and then instantly our big boy starts to gobble up the price, making the price react a bit. So we're starting to see the presence of the big boy coming back. He's showing signs that he's starting to make his move. This is what we want to keep an eye out for, saying that, is he coming back now? And if he is, we know we have to be buyers. We know there's people willing to sell to us. Now it's all a matter of timing it. Can we time it right by analyzing what the big boy is doing? If we can time it right, we can pick up that buy. Okay? If this candle right now closes the way it is, it's also going to be our first higher low sequence, which means our big boy no longer needs a discount. He's willing to take the prices higher than the previous discount, which means he is coming. He is showing signs of returning. Look at this. Whenever you have a higher low sequence, okay, it means he's willing to take the prices at a higher price. He doesn't need a discount anymore. He's happy to go in big. So if you open a position thinking that the big boys are waiting there and price actually goes sideways, I guess that's not actually at that price. No, it can still work out. You see, prices, they range all the time. Okay, they have to hover. Markets don't always trend, How often do you see markets going up and then immediately going down, immediately going up, immediately going down, and up and down? Like, it doesn't work like that. It needs to range. It needs to sideline. Okay, it needs to refresh itself. We use that terminology quite a bit. Is the market trending or is it refreshing? Okay. So a sideline gets noticed in this area, actually. You'll notice a sideline when the sellers start to slow down and the buyers start to show interest. That's when the sideline starts to come in. Is because the flow of how many people are trying to get rid of it versus the buyers are starting to get interested and they're starting to take in, okay, you got more orders, I'll take it. 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 Hence the chop, 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 chop. And the moment the sell orders run out and the buy orders overrule, prices rise. So you see this uptrend here? This uptrend had to chop before moving down. Okay, it's the same example. If I just do it earlier. For the big boys, they're looking at this area as a seller's territory from a higher time frame. But on the lower time, on this time frame, let's say this is the lower time frame, when you see this up move happening, people are like, oh my God, I need to buy this. They're all trying to buy this position now. Now, if they're all trying to buy it, if you're the seller now, because now you're the seller, you're like, good. The more people are willing to buy at an expensive price, the more I'm willing to sell it at an expensive price, right? You don't want to sell it at a lower price, right? It's the opposite way of doing business, right? Yeah, it's a seller's market at that point. Exactly, Chris. So on a higher time frame, it's a sell. So the big boys are still waiting. Come on, come on, get me some more buyers. Come on, come on. The more buyers get involved, the more they start getting interested in. And then your job, if I may simplify it, is to look for signs where you, the big boys, start gobbling up stuff like this. They're like, gotcha. I got an interesting price. I got a lot of people interested in that area. Now, you might think this might be the sell, but look, it still hovers a bit before going down. That's normal. Okay, that's normal. But you're starting to realize the big boy is showing some signs that he's coming back. You need that together. So at every trade that you're doing, you need both parties. You can't just have a miniature pullback and think that's enough. You need to have a proper pullback where you feel the world is in panic. That's an opportunity. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So, in this particular case, okay, you guys can keep an eye on this one. This is a good one. Okay, these should be getting ready pretty soon, actually. Okay, seeing the signs of it. If we're gonna do it in correlation mode, look at Aussie. Does Aussie, Euro Aussie show any sign that the big boy's presence is coming back? There's no signs, right? All we see is sell, 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 sell. So we're like, okay, well, if my big boy's a buyer, well, where's my buy? No sign of him yet. But then on Euro, the big boy's showing some signs of coming back. So now we need to understand the situation like, is it that master big boy who's talking about Euro, or he likes the Euro? Maybe he's not around right now. He's not the one controlling the market. So we need to cross-reference this with a US dollar pair. Why is Euro USD ready but not Euro Aussie? What's going on? So we're going to have to open up the US dollar group. Okay, let's open that up. Let's take a look through. See if we get a better viewing on who's controlling this market. Okay, let me know when all the charts come up for you guys and we'll get started. Yeah, it's up? Okay, here we go. Okay, so if I go back to the 4 hours and I say, okay, for Euro USD, we had an uptrend. Let me start from the daily so I know. We had an uptrend there, which means your US dollar is weak. Here, US dollar is strong. Okay? Aussie USD, seems like US dollar is getting weak again. New Zealand USD, US dollar is strong. USD CAD, US dollar is strong. USD Yen, US dollar is strong. So US dollar is not controlling the markets at all. So they're not involved in this. Let's take a look at the Aussie group, see if Aussie has anything to do with this. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys a trade of mine after this one real quick. I do trades with a lot of my students as well, and then we do trades. We trade it live together. We even share statements back and forth with all the students. Keep it transparent like that. But I'm gonna show you guys in a little bit. Give me a second here. So Aussie USD, what are we doing here? Aussie is strong. What about here? Aussie CAD, strong. Aussie Yen, strong. Euro Aussie, weak. Oh, sorry. Yeah, weak. Pound Aussie, strong. Okay. Aussie New Zealand, strong. So Aussie definitely has control. Now, if Aussie is strong, but so is Euro strong, do you think Euro Aussie is going to be ready anytime soon? Or do you think we're going to range a bit? Aussie is strong and also Euro is strong. So how can Euro Aussie move in a certain direction if both are battling? Does that make sense? If this for Euro Aussie to go up, that means one of them has to be weak. For the chart to go down, that means one of them has to be weak. Okay? So Euro Aussie, the reason why it's looking weird because that's a pair we cannot touch. We cannot touch. It's gonna get stuck in between a battle. Yeah, it's very clear actually, right? All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a trade I did on Aussie USD with the team. Okay, here we go. Did a 4 hour 60 sell on Aussie USD. This is the elite community. This is something. Oh, good, good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Hopefully, in due time, as you're getting more and more professional, I look forward to seeing you in our elite community here at Forex Watchers as well. Okay, so we got some of the students. All of these students are actually MPA students, just like you, Chris. So, okay, this is an advanced trade that you'll see here. Now, if you've noticed, I've marked the lines already prior to it. Now, the reason why I call this an advanced trade is because I know that this is a seller's area from the higher time frame. And I'm also aware that the smaller boys are looking at this out of panic and saying, just buy it. It's not going down, it's going up. Okay, I started the movement by saying I'm going to hit the sells because I really like the way this trade is. And I have a feeling based on this reaction here and getting no higher reaction as well that the big boys are starting to show interest. I hit my sells. Where's my next one? Here. I hit the sells. Sells perform. Barely any loss in there. Just using that logic of where the big boys are. Further down, this trade gave me a net profit of approximately $290 US dollars on this one. Going down further, okay, here's another student. What he did was he looked at this Aussie USD. After that sell I took, he saw it as the big boy took over the market and he went in for the buy side and he made money on that. Now, can you tell me which one was right? Which one is right? The sell or the buy? Yeah, that's very good. The answer is both. If you know exactly how to time it and where to do the trade, the market is nothing but an ATM machine. You just have to time it on where you're going to enter, on where you're going to exit, and then the next player takes his turn. Does that make sense? You can have all the opinions you want in the market as long as you keep it the set logic at least, a common logic. Then you're able to pull out trades. You're able to pull out trades. Okay. Did a pound New Zealand also. Similar fashion. I'm going to show you guys the same thing here. If you take a look at this one, okay, I had an area here showing me that that's where the big boy is, saying they're looking at this as a buy. Now, when this red bar comes in here where my mouse is, do you think people are panicking at that stage? No. No one is turning seller. What about the next bar, right until here? Do you think they're panicking at that stage? Okay. Whatever's going on in your mind right now is the right answer. Is maybe they're starting to get worried. That boiling point is what you need to focus on. It's like they're starting to get worried and shocked, but it's still in their higher high sequence area. So they're looking at this as, oh, maybe it's a range. I'll still buy it. But when this bar comes in, now they're shitting their pants. Now they're trying to turn sellers. Okay? Now when they're trying to turn sellers, my job is to sit there and wait and be like, show me where my big boy comes back. And I saw this when I saw the weekend happen, and then all this green bars started to come in. I was like, he's back. He's back. I got into this trade, entered it a bit late, but it's okay. Entered a bit late. I had to keep a wider stop because of that. On this particular trade, I actually got a chance to scale in. I added another position to it as I got another pullback coming in on the 60 and 15. That's how the result happened of the entire trade. This was from 2 days ago. And this trade gave me a total of 1,115 New Zealand dollars, basically. Because I bought it in pound New Zealand. When I close it, I get my money in the counter currency. Okay? So is that starting to make sense? I hope, I know we didn't do much of live analysis apart from the Euro USD and Euro Aussie, but I think some of you guys had your aha moments today of, okay, I think I know what I need to look for in the market. Whatever your strategy might be, that's okay. But now at least you'll know at what point your strategy is going to work and at what point your strategy is going to fail, because that logic needs to be there. However many indicators you use, if that logic's there, your indicator is going to look like it's working perfectly. But if the logic is not there, your indicators are going to fail. Yeah, Chris, and that's what we're doing, right? In the MPA course, if you've noticed, if you read through any of the comments in my course, there's a lot of people who've come in from a really bad background of trading in the wrong way. And I used to be from that background before. Oh man, you should see the stuff I've tried, robots to MAs to all kinds of stuff, man. Like I've had my fair share of getting stuck in the weird stuff. Okay? But I look forward to seeing your progress. I should be able to remember your name, Chris Ogilvie. So good. Yeah, look forward to seeing you in here. It's always fun to trade with other traders once you get the little hang of how to trade. Once that barrier is gone, then it's fun to trade together in a team. So in due time, I think 2017 or 2018, we're starting to get interested in opening up a prop firm where we're going to have our own traders trade our in-house money. So we're going to be setting that up. So currently we're in Bangkok thinking of doing that in Thailand. If we don't do it in Thailand, it will be in Singapore. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. So that's all the time we have today. I hope today was useful for you guys, and I look forward to seeing your progress. Let me know how you guys do in these trades for the euros that you guys looked at, and I look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Thank you, FX Street, for having me. It's always a pleasure. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Bye for now.